Hi VC, merely Chris here with the contest entry for Brett the Vinyl Victims 100 subscribers video. Well done, Brett. You're way past the 100 now. I think it's near about 180 or something like that. I'm hoping I'm getting this in time. I think I'm sneaking in by the skin of my teeth, but we'll see. Brett's got a brilliant channel. It's predominantly metal, rock orientated, but really good mix of stuff. He knows what he's talking about and shows some really interesting stuff. So, I mean, I can't believe you wouldn't be subscribed to Brett if you're subscribed here, but in the odd chance you're not, I'll put the link down the bottom and we'll take it from there. I'll apologise in advance because the lighting's not great today. I'm recording this about 10:30 at night. Wife's in bed, probably wondering what I'm whittling on about downstairs. And the lighting in here is not brilliant, so we'll just make the best of it what we can. Okay, so Brett's 100 subscribers contest. What you had to do was pick an album that you consider to be your favourite album, the one that you would take away with you if you only like to take one on a desert island. I struggled with this because my favourite album kind of really depends on my mood at any given time. I've got certain albums I'll always turn to at any point in the year or anything like that, but to pick a favourite is really difficult. But I had to pick one for this, and I went for something because I was involved in a listening event for this album earlier this week. A local sort of heritage cinema here in Newcastle hosts a chap called Steve Drayton who does vinyl playback sessions. He's been doing them now for about 5 years. You literally just sit down, listen to a record, and have a chat about it afterwards. It's great stuff. And this time round, it was a case of the punters who've been going all this time got to choose which records they'd like to hear, and I was one of the people who voted for this particular album to be played this time through. So, right, I've got to try and remember these questions because there's a lot of them. So what I have to do is name the album. So the album is Woodface and the band Crowded House. This was released back in 2nd of July 1991, so quite a long while ago now. It was released on Capitol Records. This is a repress. I have a story about the album that'll come later in the interesting bits, but if you can make it out in the bad lighting here, there you go, it's Capitol. I did have an original copy of the album, but I don't have that anymore. As I've probably mentioned already in one of my introduction videos, I think. People on the album. So we've got the three stalwarts of the band who were on the first two albums. That's Neil Finn, who's on guitar, vocals and keyboards. We've got Paul Hester on drums, vocals and keyboards. We've got Nick Seymour on bass guitar and vocals. They're joined this time by Neil's brother, Tim Finn, who is on guitar, vocals and piano. Tim was a band member in Split Enz with Neil and Paul Hester. So they were, known each other a long time. Tim joined the band almost as a joke. He'd been working on some songs with Neil for a Finn Brothers album. After the release of Crowded House, the second album, Temple of Low Men. So they put together an album's worth of material. Neil went off meet up with Paul and Nick to produce the next Crowded House album, sent tapes into Capitol, and Capitol weren't very happy at all. So Neil kind of approached Tim and said, those tracks that we've knocked down for the Finn Brothers album, do you mind if we use some for the album? And Tim turned around and said, yep, as long as I can be part of the band. So he joined the group. There was always a bit of a power struggle between the two. I mean, Split Enz was very much Tim's band, Crowded House very much Neil's band, and there was a bit of a struggle in there. Tim would actually tour with the band for this album, but leave the tour halfway through. He'd be replaced by Mark Hart, who does additional keyboards on the album. I think it was one of the Scotland gigs. Tim just went out for a walk, didn't come back, and that was it. He was out the band. I saw them on the tour in Newcastle, by which point Tim had left, and Mark Hart was playing keyboards, doing additional guitar work and back vocals, etc., etc. I saw them at an in-store record signing at the Hour Price on Northumberland Street in Newcastle, where they did a number of songs, and brilliant, brilliant. I got a lot of stuff signed by the band at that point, so I was very happy. Additional musicians on the band include, now never gets this names right, it's Ricky Farter, comedy name, but he was a Beach Boys drummer. He appears on 3 of the tracks. And there was accordion on one of the songs, and that's the chap from Los Lobos, whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head, but he appears on one of the tracks doing accordion. Now, the next bit we've got to do is produced. So it's produced by Mitchell Froom, who produced the first 2 albums for Crowded House in collaboration with Neil Finn. And it was recorded at 2 different areas. It was recorded in both LA and Melbourne, and 2 different studios in each of the cities. Can't remember them off the top of my head. I think Periscope was one of them in Melbourne, but I cannot remember the others off the top of my head. It was engineered by Chad Blake, who was a partner of Mitchell Froom, and they worked together on a lot of albums. They had collaborations on works by Elvis Costello, Suzanne Vega, numerous different bands. So they formed quite an effective partnership in that regard. So the next one, recorded. Oh, I've done the recorded, so that's good. Mastered by, it was mastered by Bob Ludwig at Masterdisc. Now, Bob Ludwig is very famous. He mastered a load of big albums for the likes of Jimi Hendrix, Queen, Led Zeppelin. So he was well famous at this point. So where are we next? Album art. The album art. This is a painting by Nick Seymour, the bassist, and he did all the art direction for the album. Now we come to the songs. They're all written by Neil and Tim Finn, apart from 5, I think it is. And I'm not going to be able to remember them off the top of my head. You can look it up on Discogs or something if you really want. Brilliant track list. Lots of great songs on here. Starts off with Chocolate Cake, which is a sort of politically spiky number, sort of highlighting ludicrousy of the American, well, about Americans really. So apologies to any Americans watching, but it has a bit of a jibe at you, that song. Followed by It's Only Natural, Fall at Your Feet, which is my favourite Crowded House song, and absolutely beautiful, beautiful song. Then Tall Trees, Weather With You, which I believe was their highest charting single in the UK, which got into the top 10, probably number 7, something like that. Whispers and Moans, and 4 Seasons in One Day, which again charted in the UK, but I think got into the 20s, probably around about 25, something like that. Second side, we've got There Goes God, followed by Fame Is, All I Ask, which is beautiful string arrangement. I mean, it wouldn't go amiss on a crooners album, you know, something like Frank Sinatra or something like that. And then a couple of my favourites off the album, As Sure As I Am and Italian Plastic, followed by the final 2, She Goes On and How Will You Go. And there's also a hidden track at the end, which appears about 30 seconds or so after what you think is the end of the album, captures a number of people out. All in all, just a brilliant album. Like I say, I met the band on this tour and they signed a lot of stuff for me. Unfortunately, the album was stolen in a burglary that we had in the house, which wasn't particularly pleasant, but nothing I can do about it. What I'm going to do now is quickly pop back and pull out a couple of things just to show you what didn't get nicked. Back. Important drink. For you, those of you who like this kind of thing, that's a nice Arbor 12-year-old malt whiskey. Very, very smooth. Highland malt. Very nice. But anyway, back to music. I did get a couple of other things signed which didn't get nicked, although I have lost most stuff. So first up is 12-inch single of Chocolate Cake. So got, where we are, Paolo signing down the bottom here, Nick Seymour, Neil Finn, of course, nothing on Tim because he'd walked out on the band by this point, which is a bit of a shame. And copy of the first album, again signed by Nick, Neil and Paolo. I did have a copy of Temple of Low Men which was signed, and that disappeared as well, which is a bit of a blow. But I can't recommend the band highly enough, particularly in the live setting. I mean, consummate musicians, brilliant stagecraft. Doesn't really matter what kind of music you like, you can't help but appreciate the quality of what you're getting. They never fail to entertain. They were superb on that tour. I remember I'd seen them a couple of times prior to the Woodface tour, and I remember I'd been married about a year when the album came out, and I remember trying to talk my wife into coming along to the gig with me, saying, you know, you'll love it, you'll love it. I mean, we were both primarily into rock music at the time, and she just thought, no, it's not going to be any screaming guitars and stuff like that. Wouldn't come with me. Eventually got her to go on the following tour for the Together Alone album, and she loved it and regrets not going to this tour ever since. So there you go. Where have I put it? Here again. Where did I put it? Oh, somewhere. There we are. There you go. Woodface, Crowded House, my Desert Island album for today. Okay. Cheers, Brett. Congratulations on the 100 subs yet again. I know it's going to be 200 before very long. And hope you've had fun watching all these videos. I know I've had fun checking out other people's selections. And I'll see you all soon. Bye now.